Hey there, it's Theta, the Monotone Messiah, here to bring you a match that's going to highlight some key defensive concepts. This is for anybody who plays the game. You might be newer, or maybe you're a little more experienced. You just want some fine-tuning of your defensive understanding. Well, we're going to go through a match that my team, Mayhem, played in. We actually lost this match, and in my opinion, the primary reason that we lost this match was because we made some pretty significant mistakes on defense. So I'm going to walk through a few points in this match. I'm not going to go through the entire match. I'm just going to highlight what I think is most important and talk about from there just general principles you can take away for whenever you're playing defense. So I'm going to jump now to the first round. Okay, so as you can see, Mayhem is on defense, or Volk as we like to call it. Defense is always red, and Legionnaires are on offense, or Marsoc, and they're always blue or turquoise, or whatever you want to call it. As you can see, we have a pretty spread out offense and defense. On the north, we've got one watching, it's called the North Wall. There's a guy in the north that's about to meet him. We have two directly on objective, and one person about to, get into conflict with them. And then we have three in the south. My position's right here. I am in the far east and I'm facing west. Just trying to look for anybody who might be getting into that area. Critical moment is about to show up. As you'll see, there's going to be a pick from this person in the north. He's going to take out this guy right here, and the north will be open. As you'll see, that's a pretty important moment in this round. Play now. Now, as you can see, pause on Legionnaires is coming around in the southeast. Nobody really knows he's there yet, but he's peeking through. Mono takes out somebody right on objective. So now we're at a 4v5 with Mayhem having the advantage. And there's the pick in the north, right there. So Technic poked his head out, got shot, and now north is completely open. Just going to highlight that. As you can see on the map here, there is a single person in the north, and there is an alleyway that he can get into right here. That's going to be a problem, as you see. And at the moment, we have no coverage up here. So anybody who could cover his approach, it would have to be me, or it'd have to be whoever's directly on the objective. Whoever's directly on objective would have to expose himself to this person in the south, so that'd be a pretty dangerous move. I can't leave my position because I'm trying to watch any contact that comes through here. And as you'll see, this gets nasty pretty fast. Okay, so that's another critical moment. Now our coverage on the south side of this objective courtyard has been compromised. Now, I refragged, Eric killed Wookie, and then I killed Eric. So we're still in an okay position. It's 3v3 now, but we do not have coverage north or south. All we have now are two people directly on objective and me far off the objective in the east. Mono is going to get killed here in a moment, right there. So pause, kills him. And as you can see now, this guy in the north, Raider, is making his way through that little alleyway. Nobody knows what's going on here. I have no idea that this guy made it in the north. And Cappy, who is directly on objective, now has his attention, as you can see by the laser pointing across. He's paying attention to pause because he just killed somebody. So he's there. I heard the shots as well, so I became aware of that in the same moment. So both of us are now focused on pause. This is a problem because you can see the laser here coming through the alleyway. Raider is making his way to the objective. Pause throws a grenade that also draws our attention again. Cappy's about to kill him. Okay, we kill him and down him. And at this point, Raider knew, this is another point to highlight, Raider knew that Cappy was there because Cappy was shooting across the way at the guy next to me. He had to do that. It was the right choice. The problem is that Raider was right on the objective, and now he has the drop on Cappy, and he did exactly what he should have done. Was he killed Cappy, whose attention was not focused on the objective at that very moment, pulls out his tablet and starts capping. Now at this point, I did not know that Cappy was dead. I sort of felt that was a possibility, but rather than just reacting and jumping over, I pulled out my tablet, which was a huge mistake. And he gets it. He has plenty of time. I'm running over. I kill one of their teammates, but it's too late, and then I die after the objective has already been capped, which is terrible. So, what's the bottom line here? The big mistake was not even how my attention was diverted or how Cappy's attention was diverted at that last moment. The problem was that there were two people left, and Cappy was doing the right thing. He was on the objective. I, however, was not. I put myself in a position where it really didn't matter how quickly I reacted once Cappy went down, because, I mean, if you look at the footage, I mean, it only took me a second to get up and start running, but I was so far away that it didn't matter. The Raider had killed Cappy right on objective. All he had to do was pull his tablet out and punch the code in, and that's exactly what he did. The better strategy is to, the moment that you think there's only two people left, even if you don't have full confirmation, it's just a smarter, safer thing to do to rush to the objective and take a position on it so that nobody can do exactly what Raider just did. So the mistake wasn't even that I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings enough. I was diverted by pause and what was happening right next to me. It's that I was even in the position to be distracted. The general principle you can pull out of that as a player is if there's two, or if you want to be more conservative, only 3 people left on the team and you're playing defense, make sure everybody's near the objective. Rule number 1 on defense is do not get capped on. It doesn't matter if you die. It's better to die and just give up a single point than it is to give up 2 on a cap just because you were carelessly hanging out across the street like I was. Alright, I'll jump to the next one now. This round is a couple rounds ahead. We're back on defense. We had scored once on offense. Cap, obviously, but we did win. At this point, we are at the split street objective, which you can see is right here. We have a different offensive attack, and again, I don't know why, but Onward is only showing 4 people on their team. They had a full squad of 5. Just a well-known bug in Onward that sometimes when there's casts, it doesn't show everybody like it should. On this defense, we were much more compressed on the objective, which is good. We have somebody in the south. He's really the only one who's off objective at all. And then we have 3 right next to the objective itself on the same side of the street. And then we have 1 over here watching in case anybody crosses here or comes around. As you'll see, this starts to fall apart pretty fast. So there I am. I'm the one that's directly on objective. And now I know that they're coming towards me because they had just thrown smokes in the street. They're getting ready for a push. They're smoking it so they can make that cross safely and not get taken out. I knew there was going to be something. I was telling people, hey, they're smoking the street. They're coming towards me. So everybody starts focusing. You can see Wookiee in this position. He's looking out here. In a moment, he's going to be looking at the street trying to see if he can catch anybody crossing while Pause is coming directly behind him. And so he pops out, he's looking, and then Pause comes behind him and kills him. Now Pause and I are exchanging fire here. Can't really see my shots. This is a critical moment. Eric and Mono trade. Mono's only down, and what happens is we don't just have 1 revive attempt, we have 2 people. So we have a couple people compress onto his position and they get off the objective. And that's happening simultaneously with somebody approaching me. You can start to see it here. I'm looking across. I know that Wookiee has just died, and I've also been exchanging fire with Pause. But here's his pal, Raider, walking across the street. I don't know he's there. I know there's smokes. I'm assuming that they're trying to cross, but I have an active threat right across the street, so I have narrowed my focus to him, and that's going to be a problem in just a moment. Here he comes. Okay. This matters right here. Mono gets revived by Technic, but because everybody is compressed over there, there's 3 people in a very small group, excuse me, a very small area, and I am the only one left directly on objective. And compounding that is the fact that, once again, I am distracted by crossfire here, and this guy is about to crawl in and kill me, as you'll see in a moment. Raider comes around the corner. I'm not expecting him. He kills me, and he pulls his tablet out almost immediately. You can see there's still a problem here because they're grouped up. They're near the objective, but they did not react. They didn't know that I was dead. I guess they didn't hear the gunshots, which is possible. There was smoke going off. There's a lot of things happening there. So they don't know this guy is creeping through. Raider sitting on the objective. He pulls his tablet out, and then he puts it back in. And Raider, for reasons I will never understand, did not cap right here. We lost Capitano on the objective. This is even clearer for him. He could very easily just pull the tablet out because, in this case, you can just go right in this corner, pull the tablet out and cap immediately. Didn't do that. He sits there for a full 43 seconds, not capping. We should have been capped on. Plain and simple. I'm going to just play this out because there's some other important reinforcing ideas to throw in there. Technic comes around the corner. He spots him, amazingly kills him in that exchange, even though Raider had the drop. And here we are. We're at a 1v1 now. The reason I want to highlight this is to just reinforce the idea that I mentioned before, that it's better to just die on objective. This is an objective where it's possible for somebody to creep up. They can go prone, and just pause right here. So they can come around this corner, they can prone, they can extend their arms out and cap. It's important as a result to be checking. Now, if you're checking, you're exposing yourself. If you're poking yourself out in the window, if you're running out in the street, whatever. And I don't think at this point Tech knew exactly where the threat was because so much had just happened in such a short period of time. All this stuff was going on. People were dying over here. He rushed in, killed this guy, didn't even realize that guy had been there, and now he's thinking, okay, what's going on here? So what he has to do is he has to go back and forth and make sure nobody is creeping up on him to cap, because all that matters here, especially after already losing to a cap on the previous Marsoc round for Legionnaires, is defend and die if necessary. Mao is approaching from the south, and Technic is going to keep peeking that window. Might seem like a mistake, but it's not. He needs to be doing that. Mao knows where he is now, presumably, and he's about to shoot him. Just going to come around this corner and pop him the next time he comes out the window. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we lost that round. Wasn't great, but whatever. Technic did what needed to be done, which was make sure he doesn't get capped on, even if that means dying. Prefer to win, especially in 1v1s, but that's not always possible. Sometimes you're just going to go down. All right, on to the next one. This attack was a little unorthodox. You don't see a lot of teams just doing an entire one-sided push, at least not at higher levels. In this case, Legionnaires elected to go with a full east side push. We were pretty concentrated on the objective. The only exception was me. I was over here on the west side watching for a flank. It's clear that they had no intentions of flanking. They were just going to go for a full-blown east push. And we'll watch how that situation evolves. In this case, we had lots of coverage. Mono gets 1 over in the east, so now we're fully aware that there is an attack coming from the east of some kind. We don't know what the full extent of it is. Mono had communicated to us that there were people coming, though, so we knew we had to be focusing at least some attention on that side of the map. And Mono's about to die here, I believe. Yeah, they know where he is. He's about to get killed by Mr. Sirius. So now we don't have any east side coverage. Our east side is completely compromised. We know they're coming from the east, but we don't have any way of getting over there, at least not without getting picked off, because yes, we did get one of them, but there's one in the north. He's making his way here. I am starting to recognize that there is no point in hanging out over here. I will be rotating shortly. I'm at least keeping my attention on that side of the map while this develops. And there is going to be an exchange in just a moment between Cappy and somebody. There's a team kill, which you always appreciate. Pause takes out Technic. Now we're down to a 3v3. And this situation presents a bit of a problem because Cappy and Sirius are about to exchange. Alright, this is critical. Nobody knew that this was a trade. We knew that Cappy had gone down, but we did not have a way of knowing. There's no body visible here, so we didn't know. I certainly didn't have eyes on it, but it was clear that Cappy had gone down. We knew that. At this point, it's just Wookie and I. I have rotated over. You see on the map, there's 2 of us here on the objective, and it's about to be a 2v2. We know there's at least 2 of them over there. And Wookie is about to get shot. So I saw those smokes coming. I could hear them talking as well. Wookie dies, and this might seem a little suicidal, and it was, because my attitude, just to reinforce this point one more time, was I'm not getting capped on again. I was responsible for that first cap. I'm going to rush, and at the very least, I'm going to die, and yes, we lose the map 4-2, but we didn't get capped on again. It's important to emphasize that point. Rule number 1 is do not get capped on. In this situation, I knew it was at least a 1v2, so I was going to rush and see if maybe I could take out at least one of them, and maybe I could surprise the other one, which ended up being the case. So you can see here, I rushed around the corner, and I'm looking directly at Eric. I don't think he was expecting this to happen because I end up winning this. And come around the corner, Pause has his weapon down and is not expecting a rusher either. I think it just happened too quickly for either of them to deal with. And I ended up winning the round. Now, this worked out, and I say, again, it's better to die than get capped on. And sometimes this will happen. You can surprise them with an overly aggressive push. The only downside is that I didn't have an accurate kill count. I didn't know that there were only 2 left. I knew that there were 2 there. Again, I'd seen the smokes come out. I had heard them talking. I heard gunshots. I knew there was a team over here of some sort, a squad. I didn't know that Cappy had traded over here. If I had rushed out and killed these 2 guys and the round had not ended, this was pretty stupid because now the objective is uncovered. I could have rushed out here and had my glorious moment of a double kill, only to get capped on because I left the backside open. If Cappy had not traded with this guy, he could have very well done that. If he had just shot Cappy, he could have come to the north, come around, gone in the back. I rush out to get these guys, thinking I'm pretty cool for doing that, and in the meantime, I get capped on. So, pros and cons of this strategy. It worked out. I'm glad there were only 2 left, but again, just be conscious of the objective. On to the next one. Now we're on Downfall. This is quite a bit further in the match. It's 2-3 on the scoreboard now. If we lose on this round, we lose the whole map. We hadn't been capped on again at this point, but not a great situation overall. This ended up working out. but there were still some mistakes made, and I think they're worth highlighting. Let's go. You'll see I'm positioned here next to the ice cream truck. Got James in the helicopter 2-story, and we have a spread push coming mostly from the south, but a little bit from the east as well from Legionnaires. Now I know that there's 3 of us, and there's a threat of a cap because, as far as I knew, we didn't have any kills. So 5v3, never a good situation to be on, whether you're on offense or defense. There's a slight advantage being on defense here, just because you don't have to attack. You can kind of sit and wait. Either way, I had to get on objective, so that's exactly what I did. Mono has some shots there, doesn't hit anybody. This is another, as I've been calling them, critical moment. You can see there's smokes coming out here. What's about to happen is that Pause is about to come around. He knew that James was in the helicopter 2-story. James had been firing from there. Problem is, he didn't know that Pause was coming around. This is going to play a pivotal role in how this develops. See more smokes, one coming out from Center Hotel. The fact that they're smoking the objective so vigorously says a lot. I just killed somebody. I believe he was over here when I shot him. So we've got 3v3 now. Things are evened up. It's still not a great situation. You can see Pause is making his way, I think that's him right there, making his way around the helicopter. We've got one on Center Hotel. I believe he's putting shots on me here as well. Okay. Mono takes out guy in Center Hotel. Or who was that? No, he wasn't in Center Hotel. So Pause takes out James. This was a problem. Pause came around, took out James, and now the entire east side of the objective is open. Fortunately, you can't cap from right here. But I had been concentrating my efforts on maintaining this. That happened so fast, I didn't know that James had been killed, which meant that one side of the objective was exposed, and I did not realize that somebody was moving on it. I'm up here, I pop out, kill one of his friends, and then I see him, and I actually try to hit him, but I can't. He tries to get his gun out in time, doesn't work out. That worked in this instance. Where this wouldn't have worked out is if I had stayed over here, or if I'd even stayed inside the objective. That would have been a big mistake, because I can be poking out through this window, not have any visibility on this, and he could do a crawl cap and finish it off right there. You can see I should have gotten low. I didn't realize there was still somebody on West Road, and he kills me. This is another moment worth highlighting. Right now, Mono is far off the objective. It ended up working out. He must have known that this guy was here. I had just died. There were shots ringing out. So it made sense for him to hang out there because he was going to have an angle. That being said, this could have worked out very differently. If Pause had come over here and managed to kill me while I was killing his teammate, or if he just won that little exchange that occurred here when I came around the corner and saw him, that would have meant the objective was completely uncovered, and it wouldn't have mattered how quickly Mono responded to that situation. He was just too far away. It would have been just like the first round when I got the team capped on. This is going to work out in our favor, though. Mono's looking out, and he shoots him, and round over. We're now tied 3-3. On to the next one. Now we're on Tanker. By now, we have lost the match in general, but we were doing our best to win this map so that we would have a minimal MMR loss. And that was what happened. We ended up tying 10-10 on this, so the MMR loss was not terrible. It's never fun to lose a match, but if you're going to lose, at least make sure it's not an ass-kicking. I'm going to play now, and you can see how this one evolves. I've pushed it a little beyond, so you can see there's already one death on the Legionnaire side. They do a split push here. There's 3 in the north and 2 in the south. Cappy gets killed by Pause, and now our north is outnumbered 2-1. He's about to get overwhelmed. Pause comes around the corner, takes him out. Our entire north side now is open. James comes around. He's communicating that there's something happening over here. Now there's only 2v4. And now there is 1 person left, which is me. Again, they team killed each other, which is always appreciated. Always like to see that. Helps you out. But now I know, because I'd heard all these gunshots, James had called out ahead of time, that I was the last one. Nightmares of getting capped on ringing through my head. I rush up the staircase and come here. Here I am. First thing I see when I come around the corner is a shield. That's where all my attention is. You can see that I'm not focusing on the one spot which is most vulnerable to capping, right here. Pause has his tablet out. I don't think he knew that I was there at that point. But I come around the corner. I'm about to run out of ammo, which is embarrassing. But I come over here. I realize I need to reload, and I kill the shield, fortunately. But Pause could hear me coming and shot me. We lost that round. Once again, it's better to die on objective. That could have gone poorly. I did not check that critical corner like I should have. You'll see in a moment that you can cap from that spot. That could have worked out poorly. In all likelihood, I could have just turned and shot Pause and maybe still had a chance on the shield. I don't know if he would have been able to react fast enough, but when I died to that, I didn't even know he was there, which is a mistake. So another concept to take away from this is whenever you're on an objective, make sure you're checking every possible spot. There aren't that many. No matter what the objective is, there's only a couple of real key spots, especially with cover, that people are going to care about. So check those. Don't get overwhelmed by the fact that there's people on the objective. I was fixated on that shield, and it made sense to shoot him because that's what I saw first, but it also didn't make sense for me to shoot him and then not immediately snap to where the objective capper was. So just take that away. Yes, I died on objective like I should have, but I could have potentially saved that round if I had just been a little more conscious of what was going on the objective. On to the next one. This is the very next round, and this is going to be the last round I talk about. As you can see here, there's no coverage in the middle. This is not, it's not exactly unusual. Teams like to stack on both sides just so they can cover the approaches that most teams like to take. You can see on the north side there's 3, and south side there are 2, so there's a north bias. This can work out because if everybody's pushing this way, then yes, you've got overwhelming firepower to stop it. The downside, as you'll see, is that if there's not great communication happening with those defenders, or they get taken out early, even by 1 or 2 people, it means your entire north side's open and somebody can slip through and cap. James takes out 1 in the north. And now he's making his way. Oh, I'm sorry. He'd already caught 1. So there's 2 dead in the north. He's making his way to the center in just a moment. The caster trip was not paying attention to that. There's about to be a death. There it is. Didn't really matter. Not sure precisely what happened. Mao is in the north on the top deck. He's prone, and he did not react to James coming through the north and taking out 2 people. I don't know what's going through his head. I have no way of knowing, but I can tell you right now this is not great. If there's only 3 left and you know there's an attack coming on one side, it's a good idea to converge to that side. At the very least, Mao could have gotten up and checked what was going on, checked the radio, said, hey, is north secure, whatever, and when he didn't get a response, crash or just look at his tablet and realize that his friends are dead. It's probably the faster way to handle that. But he didn't. He sat there and waited. I'm not sure why, but this is the same kind of mistake that I made early on in the first round. And James is about to make him pay for it because he's coming into the center. And this is why I just want to emphasize that point, or pause killed me on the last round that we reviewed. This is a great spot to cap in because there's so much cover. If the north is compromised like it was in this situation, no one's going to see you. And that's what happened. James crashed through the north, killed 2 people. The other guy in the north didn't respond. And James is in a position where anybody in here, even if Mr. Sirius is over looking in the window directly at objective, if he missed his approach, if he missed him running over here, he's not going to know he's there and he's not going to be able to stop him. And as you'll see in just a moment, James caps and puts us up by 2. There it is. I would say in this specific situation, just react faster. Mal could have stopped that, or at least slowed it down by getting up and running over here. These guys could have reacted. They could have turned. Mr. Sirius, once he knew that there were deaths in the north, he could have, instead of focusing, looking out on the ship here, he could look directly on the objective through the window and call out, and then Raider or somebody else could have run up and taken out James or tried to react. He could have run around the corner and killed him. And the other side of it is, too, it's generally a good idea to just have people directly on objective. Sometimes it makes sense to have a looser formation. It does depend on who you're playing, what map it is, what objective it is, whatever. In this situation, it doesn't make a lot of sense to not have somebody with eyes on all the time. Okay, so the general idea from everything I've been saying, I'm just going to say this one more time, is the first rule of defense in Onward is don't get capped on. Period. Do not get capped on, even if it means dying. Make sure that you're communicating and make sure you're reacting. If there's only 2 or 3 people left, you need to be converging on the objective. That's a pretty solid general rule. There aren't many exceptions to that I can think of. I'm sure top players would disagree with me on that, and there are situations where it makes sense to be a little more loose even in that situation. At the very least, if you're the last one, you have to be on objective. Die if you must, but do not stay off objective if you're the last one. More importantly, try to anticipate if you're going to be the last one. If you know that there's a lot of action happening on the objective and there's only 3 people left, and you know there's a good chance that 1 or 2 of those people will go down in the exchange, then just rush to the objective. Seriously, you already screwed up by allowing that push to get that close to the objective, and now you need to try to make up for that by not getting capped on. Okay, well, this is Theta, and that's all I've got for you today, so I'm signing off.